Hey guys, welcome to the Pattaya Movie Channel. Let's delve into a sinister realm where two girls, in order to be internet sensations, worship and idolize serial killers. Presenting to you a chilling and comedic American film, Tragedy Girls. The tale commences upon a bridge. A young couple nestled in their automobile engages in an intimate kiss. A peculiar sound echoes from outside the vehicle. Sadie, seated within, begins to grow uneasy. She beseeches Craig, her partner, to inspect the source of the disturbance. Craig, albeit scared, refuses to display his fear before her. With caution, he steps out, leaving the confines of the car. Finding himself at the vehicle's fore, he detects no cause for alarm, ready to return to his awaiting partner and resume their intimate embrace. As he turns, however, a hulking brute, face obscured by a hood and wielding a cleaver, strikes ruthlessly, targeting his head. He collapses, motionless. Sadie, a horrified witness to the gruesome sight from within the car, screams out in terror, then flees towards the sanctuary of the nearby woods. The killer, hot on her heels, revels in the thrill of the hunt. Yet to his surprise, a rope has been stretched across his path within the woods. Caught off guard, he tumbles to the ground before he can regain his senses. Sadie's friend Michaela, a fearless young woman, emerges. They rejoice over the success of their trap. Then she whips out a stun gun and aims it at the killer's neck. They jab him multiple times. The killer convulses with the shocks coursing through him, yet remains conscious. Thus, they decide to employ a more primal method. She raises her bat, aiming directly at the killer's head. Finally, the killer is knocked out upon regaining consciousness. The killer finds himself bound to a chair, with Sadie and Michaela excitedly observing him. As though relishing a novel plaything, his hood is removed. His true identity discovered by the girls with venom in his voice. The killer curses them, vowing to flay and eviscerate them, claiming they remain oblivious to his power. Their response? Gleeful laughter. Sadie reveals their adulation as his fervent admirers. The killer, having committed 4 heinous acts within their small town, should he ever wish for further insight, they suggest following their Twitter under the moniker of Tragedy Girls, a joint venture of the duo initially garnering meager followers. Yet, as his body count rose, so did their Twitter followers. Their modus operandi, collating and publicizing the details of his grisly deeds to drum up attention. They invested some time unearthing the pattern of his bloodlust. Analyzing, they deduced his preference for victims with short hair, a characteristic Sadie happened to possess. The young man was merely bait to lure him into their trap. The killer is left dumbstruck, never having expected such insanity from these girls. Their motivation to capture him, to learn his gruesome techniques. But the killer resists their manipulation. Sadie decides to keep him confined for a few days, hoping his resistance would eventually wane. Suddenly, a man's groan resonates from behind. Turning to look, they find Craig, who had fallen victim to the cleaver, still alive on the table. They mock the killer for his failure to kill even a young man. Deciding they must take matters into their own hands, Sadie gently assures the awakening Craig that an ambulance is on its way, proceeding to stuff a towel into his mouth and smothering his nose with another. Ultimately, Craig perishes from asphyxiation. In their clandestine hideout, the girls attend to the corpse, mimicking scenes from TV dramas. They dismember the deceased Craig, submerging the remains in a corrosive substance. Suddenly, a phone alarm interrupts their gruesome task. It's time for the girls to return home. They put the hood over the killer again, leaving him confined within the room. Upon returning home, they greet their families as per usual, just 2 ordinary girls in their parents' eyes. During the night, they post about the deceased young man on their Twitter. By the time school begins, Craig's absence is noticed and the news of his disappearance spreads. Sadie and Michaela engage in chatter about the deceased, speaking fondly of him, wondering why he vanished. They suggest following their Twitter for more updates. In class, Sheriff Welch steps in, informing the students of the boy's missing status. Denying any unfortunate incidents, Michaela questions Sheriff Welch's claim, given the recent wave of death. The more serious the case, the more followers they attract. A mere runaway doesn't garner attention. Their English teacher, Mrs. Kent, interjects, halting the questioning. Once Sheriff Welch leaves, Mrs. Kent addresses the students, mentioning how easy it is to spread rumors in high school, but implores them to maintain respect for others. A warning aimed at the girls. They, however, pay it no mind. After class, Sadie and Michaela seek out Jordan. Even though he is Sheriff Welch's son, his attraction to Sadie and desire for the truth motivates him to aid in their video editing. This time, they plan a video criticizing the police's incompetence. He promises to edit and upload the video by nightfall. Michaela leaves impatiently with Sadie. She doesn't like Jordan. His father being the sheriff isn't helping either. But more importantly, Sadie seems to have a crush on him. She desires Sadie's friendship solely for herself. During their lunch break, the girls settle down at a cafe. They monitor the serial killer confined in their secret base. They find him to be boring, constantly plotting escape and not teaching them any murderous techniques. They have a goal to gain 100,000 followers before their graduation prom. That's when they can truly start their career. Now, they plan to impersonate the serial killer, to use the murders to boost their Twitter popularity by always having first-hand information about the incidents. During their afternoon cheerleading practice, the team captain Sil asks Michaela to change her shoes. The ones she's currently wearing are too flashy for practice. Both Sadie and Michaela think Sil is annoying, but their focus is on their Twitter account, not on petty disagreements. Sadie notices that Michaela's attractive ex-boyfriend Toby has also posted about the case. He even copied the tragedy girl's information and posted it verbatim on his Twitter. His handsome face has garnered him more followers than the tragedy girl's. Sadie finds this unacceptable. After school, Sadie decides to kill Toby, though Michaela still finds him very attractive. For the devotion of their Twitter followers, she concedes they lure Toby to a deserted road where a puncture strip has been stealthily placed upon the arrival of Toby on his motorcycle. His tires are ravaged by the concealed nails. He loses control. Toby is violently flung into the adjacent woods, while Sadie records the catastrophic tumble on her cellular device. The duo rush forth to assess Toby's condition. Discovering him still alive, although he has a severed leg, they approach the fallen man. Sadie brandishes a dagger targeting Toby. She repeatedly stabs him but fails to finish the job. Michaela could not bear the sight. She seizes the dagger. Finally finishing him off with a strike to a vital spot upon returning to school, Sadie and Michaela prepare for potential interviews. As they have alerted authorities to Toby's remains, they anticipate a television crew's arrival. Indeed, a crew descends upon the institution. The presenter, however, attributes the demise to a tragic accident rather than malevolent intent. Sadie queries Jordan on law enforcement's perspective. Jordan suggests that the police prefer a quiet resolution to prevent unnecessary panic amongst the populace. This is far from Sadie's desired outcome. Now they must attend a student council meeting to deliberate on the prom. Sil proposes the prom's cancellation at the council meeting. She suggests allocating the prom budget to the bereaved. This suggestion infuriates Sadie and Michaela. As the president and vice president of the student council, they have been anticipating the prom's arrival. Now an obstacle has emerged on their path. This individual must face the ultimate consequence. Sadie and Michaela seize an opportunity to obliterate Sil's school project. Consequently, in the evening hours, Sil, who was alone in the school's warehouse, crafts a new artwork. While engaged in her work, two figures cloaked in black and hidden behind masks confront Sil. Sil instantly recognizes her, Michaela owing to her unmistakably flamboyant footwear. Sensing impending peril, Sil attempts to flee. Sadie thwarts her escape. In the ensuing struggle, Sil inadvertently activates a chainsaw, concurrently entangling herself in a chain hoist. The precarious swaying sends her directly into the path of the chainsaw. The chainsaw ruthlessly severs Sil's cranium. The duo stand flabbergasted. This was evidently an accidental mishap, yet they sought intentional malevolence. Not accidents of this nature, they decide to dismember Sil, thereby eliminating any doubts that it was an accident. The following day, Sil's remains are discovered, her head incessantly rotating atop a piece of machinery. As a result of the incident, Tragedy Girl's Twitter sees an influx of followers. A television crew interviews Michaela next to the storage locker, substantiating her prior conspiracy theories. There indeed is a serial killer amongst the town's citizens. After the departure of the television crew, Jordan engages Michaela in conversation. By chance, he glimpses blood-soaked shoes in her locker. He doesn't read much into it. As she assures him the stains are a consequence of her monthly cycle, he informs her that Sheriff Welch is rather discontent with their actions, believing they are hindering the investigation. He suggests they inform Sheriff Welch they were watching a movie with him if they require an alibi. No sooner had he spoken than the duo was summoned to the office. Sheriff Welch accuses them of obstructing the investigation. Furthermore, spreading rumors online, he demands to know their whereabouts the previous night. They insist they were watching a movie with Jordan. Sheriff Welch has no choice but to let them go. The duo invites members of their community. They hold a memorial for Syl, simultaneously promoting their Twitter account. Much to their surprise, Big Al steals everyone's attention, a firefighter and local celebrity. He is well liked by all. He vows to catch the killer along with his friends. The girls decide to kill Big Al to create even more uproar while preparing a sedative at their private base. The killer attempts to drive a wedge between Sadie and Michaela with his words. He tells Michaela Sadie is always the one giving orders. Michaela isn't Sadie's friend, but her underling. Despite insisting that she won't be swayed by the killer's words, a seed of doubt takes root in her mind. At night, the girls make their way to the gym. Despite encountering minor setbacks, they successfully terminate Big Al. Employing the force of the gym equipment, they crush his skull. In the early hours of the morning, the body of Big Al was discovered. Panic ensued as even a man as strong as Big Al had been killed, not to mention what could happen to others. The town residents all attended a town meeting. Mayor Campbell urges everyone to abide by the law, mourn for the deceased Big Al, and watch out for each other's safety. As it comes time for Sheriff Welch to speak, Michaela lifts a backup phone, sending a picture of Big Al's dead body to everyone present. This act was witnessed by Jordan standing behind her. He starts to become suspicious of her. As the grotesque image of Big Al's corpse appeared on everyone's phones, the crowd could not bear it. Seizing the opportunity, Michaela opposed Sheriff Welch's curfew proposal. She incites the crowd and organizes a memorial march for Big Al. Meanwhile, the killer finally breaks free from his ropes, escaping the base. Now the girls face the retaliation of the killer. As night falls, just as the march is about to conclude, people witness Mayor Campbell's dead body, her body impaled on a pipe. Michaela and Sadie are stupefied. Sadie hurriedly checks the surveillance on her phone, finding that the killer has escaped. When it comes time to go to school, Sadie and Michaela approach Sheriff Welch to inform him that they're being stalked. They describe the killer's appearance to the sheriff, hoping to utilize the police's power for protection. But Sheriff Welch tells the girls that the station is short-staffed. They cannot assign officers to protect them. They should best close their Twitter account and hide properly. However, the girls are unwilling to do so. In class, Sadie and Michaela watch the rising follower count on Twitter, feeling their venture is beginning to take off. Yet Mrs. Kent can't stand their behavior. She believes the Tragedy Girls' Twitter account is profiteering from the misfortune of others. She expresses in class that social media can lead to excessive narcissism, superficiality, and even antisocial personality. She also asserts that Tragedy Girls is like a parasite, gaining followers by feasting on human blood, unable to bear the teacher's ridicule. Sadie and Michaela walk out of the classroom. Post-class, Jordan approaches the duo, declaring his unwillingness to partake in the creation of Tragedy Girls, given the pressing need for his presence by his father's side, deeming Jordan a liability. After they had relayed all the material to him, Michaela castigates him, even belittling his late mother, stating his uselessness rivals that of his murdered mother. The trio disband in discord. Upon her departure, Michaela fails to notice her backup phone swiped by Jordan. Shortly thereafter, she resolves to eliminate Jordan. Concerned, he may have discovered something incriminating, yet Sadie, harboring a certain affection for him, hesitates until they discover the missing backup phone, deciding she will personally deal the fatal blow to Jordan. As evening descends after sharing a meal with Sheriff Welch, Jordan lounges on the sofa, engaged in television, exhausted. Sheriff Welch falls asleep on the sofa. Jordan spots Sadie outside the house. He escorts her to his room. Having dialed Michaela's number before arrival, she monitors the inside of the house via her phone from the outside. Jordan presumes Sadie is there merely for leisure. He confides in Sadie his suspicion towards Michaela, given that the murder of his mother was knowledge exclusive to the police department. He suspects she knows more, like who is committing these murders. Sadie jumps to Michaela's defense. She states at the time of Jordan's mother's passing, Michaela was but a little girl. Following this, he reveals his acquisition of the phone. He also mentions spotting bloodstains on Michaela's shoes. Yet in a short while, Jordan professes his affection to Sadie. Sadie reciprocates, embracing him in a passionate kiss. She plans to dispatch him soon after, when a knock echoes from the door. Jordan opens his room door. Standing before him is the masked brute, the killer directly. The killer plunges a cleaver into Jordan's shoulder and assaults Sadie. In the ensuing chaos, Sadie destroys the backup phone. From the window, Michaela witnesses the commotion within. Frantically, she shatters the living room glass, jolting the slumbering Sheriff Welch awake. Hearing the screams, he fires his gun, chasing off the killer. He interrogates Sadie, demanding to know why she is here. Jordan tells Sheriff Welch Sadie saved him, and thus Sadie becomes the town's heroine. In front of everyone, Sheriff Welch commends Sadie. Yet in her speech this time, she refrains from mentioning the Tragedy Girls team. Instead, she turns the spotlight onto herself. This incites dissatisfaction in Michaela. They bicker openly, leading to a public falling out. Sadie achieves her desired status as the school's star, while Michaela is gradually ostracized by their peers, to the point where no one even invites her to the graduation prom. On the day of the graduation ball, Jordan invites Sadie to accompany him. Meanwhile, Michaela has found someone to escort her, none other than the killer. At the prom venue, Sadie and Jordan are crowned the king and queen of the dance. Their relationship rapidly intensified, while Mrs. Kent has been killed outside by Michaela. The prom night is destined to be one of blood and gore. During a conversation with Jordan, Sadie receives a text from Michaela. She sees the gruesome state of Mrs. Kent. She spots Michaela's shadow. Following it, she ends up at the performance stage room. Jordan, upon noticing Sadie's absence, finds himself outside the room, overhearing the conversation between the two girls. Sadie pleads with Michaela to stop. They've achieved enough, Michaela contends. It's only Sadie's achievement. Sadie has always led her on their mischievous adventures together. They murdered Jordan's mother in their childhood, a plan conceived by Sadie. Now that Sadie wants to be with Jordan, she will not allow it. Sadie questions whether she's intending to kill her. Michaela assures her that she wouldn't hurt Sadie. She's here to save her. At this point, the killer appears in the room. Jordan sneaks in, toppling a cabinet onto the killer. He drags Sadie up to higher ground. Michaela and the killer also climb up. As the killer prepares to harm Sadie, Michaela declares that nobody can hurt her sister. The killer suggests that she has lost control, and he hasn't forgotten his vendetta against her. Michaela isn't interested in talking. She pulls a handgun from her bag and kills the killer with a single shot. Sadie looks at Michaela. The two embrace tightly, cherishing their bond. Jordan pulls Sadie to his side. He wants to call the police to expose Michaela as a deranged lunatic. Jordan believes Sadie is not the same as Michaela, but Sadie thinks otherwise, facing the man who deeply loves her. She loops a rope from the roof around Jordan's neck and suspends him in midair. Then they lock the doors of the prom from outside, hand in hand. Setting the place ablaze, all inside are consumed by the flames. Finally, the ordeal comes to an end. All the sins have been pinned on the killer, and the girls, as survivors, receive intense public attention. They are about to have new interviews, even participating in TV shows, publishing books, and starring in movies. Just like that, the two girls drive off, leaving all the troubles of the town behind, setting off for the life they've dreamt of. The emergence of social media has enriched people's lives, but at the same time, it has also trapped some in a certain obsession. Some would resort to any means to achieve fame. When the truth is revealed, it's not only the individual who gets hurt, but also the family who have been by their side. All right, as per usual, feel free to leave a comment if you have other thoughts on this film, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. See you in the next episode.